evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here on DinamoTV. It's episode 11 of our second season in total, our 49th episode. And my name's Tonchi Prusats. I'm your host for tonight. It's always a pleasure to be with you on a Wednesday night. And let me tell you, tonight's show is going to be an absolutely fantastic one, as is every week here on DinamoTV. What's coming up over the next, maybe 60 or so minutes? We'll be catching up with Mikkel Platt, the Dinamo senior team player who is the only scorer of our only goal, the scorer of the only goal against the Melbourne Knights last Sunday in the big Croatian derby. He'll be joining us, as will the coach of the St. Albans Dinamo girls under-14s team, Tex Apostolikas. They had a fine win last weekend in the Keon Park Cup, the girls tournament, the girls junior tournament at Keon Park. And last but certainly not least, we'll be joined by a living legend of the club, Mario Jutrisha, man, very well known down at Churchill Reserve. And he'll be paying tribute to a former colleague of his and a longtime friend and associate and another club legend who sadly passed away last week, Ivan Pinteric. All that coming up on DinamoTV very shortly, and we're going to kick it off with the news desk very quickly. But before we do that, just a bit of a community announcement. Remember, this Saturday night, daylight savings ends, so do make sure to turn your clock back 1 hour. You get an extra hour's sleep. That's going to help all those parents and kids playing first thing Sunday morning. But remember to do that before you go to bed on a Saturday night. You're watching DinamoTV. Straight after this ad break, it's time for the news desk.
The I&D Group is regarded as one of the largest deliverers of concrete structure solutions in Victoria. Formed in 1994 by Ivan and Kathy Filipovic, their passion and commitment to getting the job done safely and economically has underpinned their success in the industry. I&D partners with large-scale building and construction companies in both the private and public sectors on projects large and small. With our corporate headquarters based in South Melbourne and storage yard based in the southeast suburbs, we have at our disposal thousands of square metres of quality materials, along with state-of-the-art lifting and crane equipment, enabling us to deliver the largest projects. We are committed to delivering high-quality projects by partnering with our clients and collaborating with project suppliers to ensure each job is delivered to exceed expectations. From humble beginnings, I&D now employs more than 1,200 dedicated professional and support staff, involved in a number of landmark projects right across Victoria. The I&D Group is a massive supporter of the Croatian community, backed soccer clubs in Victoria, and is proud to be the major sponsor of the St. Albans Dinamo Football Club in 2024.
Welcome back to DinamoTV. Time for the news desk. Well, if you're going to lose a game, you might as well lose it to your sister club, I guess. And that's exactly what happened last week in round 8 of the NPL Victoria competition. Our Dinamo came up against Melbourne Knights at Summer Street Knight Stadium, now known as Tomset Stadium. All right, we're going to take a quick look at the highlights of last Sunday's game.
Into this game with a bit of form to make a bit of history themselves.
3 changes for Ivan Franjic and Melbourne Knights. Alex Hurd, Darcy Anastovsky and Masatel Shiba all into the starting 11 and making way Tomas Karlovic, Dion Nicolaides and Kane Shepherd. And for St. Albans, who are coming off a 3-0 win against Port Melbourne last week, just the one change. Mikkel Platt is coming in. Emmanuel Peters not only out of the starting 11, commends, but also after nearly giving away what could have easily been a goal. It's Jackson Riley in goal today for St. Albans. Summerskill. Back out to Mills. It was a neutral ball near the midway line. Dunlop was involved for Melbourne Knights. Brownwell is maybe going to be a chance here. Riley completely out of position. It's going to be played back. This should be a goal, and it is. Darcy Anastovsky finishes. Some early issues at the back. Jackson Riley may well be hurt. There was nothing he could do once the ball had gone past him. Melbourne Knights get the early advantage. It must be frustrating for him every time it comes near him right now.
Yeah, Brečević really defending well this afternoon. Making it hard work for Platt.
Arak was under a small amount of pressure there from Anastovsky.
Knights been struggling to really retain possession in their forward line in the last 5 minutes. It's allowing St Albans to creep up on him.
So Divin has switched with Sharan here. He's now on the left. Mikkel Platt, has he got some space to shoot? He does! And it's 1-1! Mikkel Platt. All he needed was that little bit of space. And he got it done.
Have those legs in him to play a full 90 minutes. That's what the question mark will be.
So Dion Nicolaides also out there now for Melbourne Knights. Got the start last week against Victory. It was Alex Hurd that came off for Nicolaides. Pethriotis. Can he get the strike? He can! Melbourne Knights reclaim the lead. Mark Pethriotis has only just come on for the injured Kane Shepherd.
They're playing Preston, an out-of-form Preston, really, that's been struggling the last few weeks. They'll jump them if they can win back-to-back games. Just need to hold on in these final 8 minutes.
Preston going down on Friday in a shock result against Port Melbourne. I suppose every team in the league, Ivka, have had their moments this year. We'll see what Shipper can do here. He's onside, looking to chip over the top. Nothing that Jackson Riley could do. And in it went. And that should settle the 3 points for Melbourne Knights. And for Chipper, it's his first goal. Everyone else has at least got 2 wins to their name. It's a pretty even season we are seeing here so far. Everyone's now had a loss as well, obviously. Avondale going down recently.
Yeah, definitely a very, very even competition. And, with that extra team getting relegated as well, it makes teams fight even more for a point.
It's a much-needed win for Melbourne Knights.
And there you have it. It was a 3-1 final scoreline there at Tomset Stadium. If we go through the results, the round 8 results there, as you can see there on your left-hand side. Big win by sister club Dandenong City over South Melbourne on Monday night, 3-1. Congratulations to Dandenong City and, of course, the other Croatian team in the NPL Victoria competition. Melbourne Knights unfortunately defeated us 3-1. We dropped to 8th position on the competition standings. Equal amount of points as Dandy City, just outside the top 6 at the moment. This week we come up against 11th placed Melbourne Victory. And just a reminder, originally this fixture was going to be held at Churchill Reserve on Friday night. It has been rescheduled to Monday, and the game will be held at the home of the Matildas. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. and a very important game for our boys. We really, really need to win this game. A crucial game, that's for sure. Now, one good thing came out of, last round, or last month, I should say, to be more precise, is congratulations to our very own Captain Courageous, Michael Grgic. He was named the NPL Men's Player of the Month for March. He recorded the most votes from the NPLM commentary team from rounds 5 through to round 8. So well done to Michael. Congratulations. The wrap-up. There we have the wrap-up. The seniors, obviously, we know that result. The 23s had a good win, 5-1 against the Knights. And the 19s also recorded a good win, 2-1 to the 19s. Well done to those two teams. Unfortunately, our junior boys NPL teams for the second week in a row struggled, and are all recorded losses, this time against Caroline Springs George Cross. Over the weekend, as we mentioned, the Keon Park Cup was played, and that was basically a tournament, involved a lot of girls' teams, and well done to our under 9s, our under 13s, and our under 14s teams. They all were crowned champions. It wasn't the Keon Park. It was the Melton Phoenix Kim Donnelly Memorial Shield. I stand corrected on that one. My apologies. The under 11 team walked away as the runners up, and there's a whole heap of photos there from the day. So my apologies. It was the Melton Phoenix Kim Donnelly Memorial Shield, not the Keon Park Cup. I do stand corrected there. As we mentioned at the top, right at the start of the show, unfortunately, one of our long-time members, supporters, and a former club secretary, Ivan Pinteric, passed away last weekend. A funeral service will be offered tomorrow, which is Thursday, the 3rd of April, at the Sveti Leopold Mandic Croatian Church in Sunshine. The service will begin with a viewing at 1 p.m, followed by the Rosary, the Krunica, and the Requiem Mass at 1:30 p.m. At the conclusion of the Mass, the funeral will proceed for a burial at Keilor Cemetery, and that's at 3 p.m, so the corner of Cemetery Road and Alley Court in Keilor East. Just a reminder about the Dinamo Zagreb camp coming to Melbourne, coming to Churchill Reserve from the 7th to the 11th of July this year. There's all the information that you need there. It is a 5-day training camp. Each day will include 1.5-hour training session, a 1-hour educational session, plus nutritional lunch. Participants will receive 2 official camp training kits, official certificate of recognition, engaging interactive workshops, and the most interesting one and the most important one, a potential invitation to attend Dinamo Zagreb's junior program in Zagreb. So the cost is for the 5-day camp is $500 per child, only $100 per day, and you need to register. There is the information there. There's a jot form. You can go to our Facebook page and you can just click on that link, and that will take you there. And last but not least, in the news desk, we've got the 50th Gala happening in July. So that same week that the Dinamo Zagreb training camp or the junior camp will be held in Melbourne, that week that weekend we'll see our 50th anniversary Gala night, which will be staged at the Croatian Catholic Centre in Sunshine. Major Minor will be providing the entertainment, and we will have a special guest, Ivan Novosel from the Zaprešić Boys. Tickets are only $120 per person. It does include a 3-course meal, formal attire, and you can get tables of 10. For bookings, there it is on the screen. Give Lucy a buzz on 0435 680 270 or Natalie on 0402 380 862. And folks, that brings us to the end of the news desk. And welcome back to DinamoTV. It's now time for our first guest for tonight, and he was the only scorer of the only goal against the Melbourne Knights last week, and he's a first-year player. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome to DinamoTV Mikhail Platt. Mikhail, how are you doing, and how's things tonight for you?
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for having me, firstly. And yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Very, very, very. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, before we talk about you and talk about your time your short time at Dinamo, let's go about talk about the goal last week. There we go. We've got some highlights of the actual goal. Take us through the goal and how it led up to you scoring it in the end.
Yeah. So pretty much at the time we was 1-0 down. We went 1-0 down pretty early, but we were still comfortable in the game. We had a lot of possession. We just wasn't getting many chances. But in this moment, we was able to get a break out wide with Divin, running down the flank, and I just knew that I had to get myself in the box. But I also spoke to Divin before the game, and he said that if he gets in behind, he'll try to cut the ball back. So yeah, when I was running in the box, I just tried to stay off the defenders a little bit. It came to me. I was looking to open up on my right foot and get a shot off, but it was a little bit behind me, so I had to adjust. Obviously adjusting, I was able to get a bit of space on my left foot. And pretty much in those situations, I think it's just instincts, knowing to just get your shot off. Luckily, it was a good strike.
Yeah, no, it was a good strike. Unfortunately, for the team, it wasn't enough, as the Knights just ran out winners. And I guess if we're going to lose, we might as well lose to another Croatian community-backed club, to the sister club. But all jokes aside, it's sort of been a topsy-turvy year, hasn't it? We've had some really, really good highs. We've had some sort of lows. It's just, and the league as such it seems to be that way. But I guess that pretty much kind of describes how even and how unpredictable the NPL Victoria competition is this year.
Yeah, what it's doing is just showing the amount of quality that's in the league this year. Of course, it's so early in the season, and at the start, every club is trying to adapt. A lot of clubs have new players, so it's going to take a few games for everyone to get into it. Especially us, we have a new team. Players like myself have just come in, just getting used to how everyone plays, getting used to your players. It takes a few weeks to just get used to things. But we've had a few mixed results, but we're in a good place. As a team, we're confident, and we know the quality that we have. And I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll be where we need to be.
Yeah, well, we're certainly in a better position than we were this time last year, I guess. And one of the main reasons there, I think, is the camaraderie, the team spirit that Cam has instilled in the dressing room. How is it? You're new to the club. You're a close season signing. How are you finding a life down under in Melbourne, in Victoria, at Dinamo? How are you finding it, generally speaking?
Yeah, really good. Obviously moving over to a new country, a new city, and not being close to home. I'm on the other side of the world, but it's something that is easy to adapt, because I feel like Melbourne is pretty similar to London. Coming over and being in a new city has been good. It's been enjoyable. In terms of the change room, all the boys are top, man. Everyone gets along. The vibes, the banter, just going into training, everyone's happy to be there. Cam and Billy, they create a good environment for everyone to be free to express themselves. And of course, me coming to Dinamo, I met Cam and Billy last season at Hume City. That's how I know them. So before coming, I knew what kind of change room I'll be coming into, the atmosphere that they create. I just knew that me coming in would be a good fit, and that I'll get along with everyone.
Yeah. Now, who do you support back home?
I don't really want to answer this question at the moment, because it's Man United and we're not in a place.
Well, I was going to say, maybe if it was Tottenham Hotspur, being a London boy, for example, I guess Dinamo Zagreb, home to Luka Modric, who once upon a time started. But obviously, we're another version of Dinamo, I guess, the Australian version of Dinamo. But another link between Dinamo Zagreb and St Albans Dinamo, I suppose, is the fact that former Melbourne Knights striker Mark Viduka played at Dinamo Zagreb, and then he went on to play in England. But he once upon a time graced the pitches there at Knights Stadium where you played on the weekend. Did it sort of enter your mind that you're playing at a venue that over the years, over the decades, it has had some of the most incredible players grace that turf?
Yeah, no, it's a good feeling. I have heard that that Melbourne Knights have a big history in Australia. I have heard that Mark Viduka had played for the club. So yeah, knowing that I'm playing on the same pitch at a good stadium, one of the better infrastructures that are in Melbourne, it's nice to play on that pitch and to get on the pitch, score a goal. Is nice too. So it's good.
Now let's talk about Mikhail Platt. Let's talk about you, Mikhail. Tell us a bit about your story. Where did you start playing football? And you're telling me off screen you started in London. I was about to say Liverpool, in London.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah,
us a bit more.
yeah, cool. So yeah, I started playing football when I was 9 years old. At that age, it's just for fun. You
Mm.
try to get into a hobby. You don't know what you like or what you enjoy. But I started at a team called AFC Wembley. They was big in my area for just bringing up kids that want to start playing, and we've had a big history of successful players that have gone to make it professionally as well. So yeah, it's a very popular club in my community back home. So yeah, I started at 9 years old, and I started playing at AC Wembley, and then after a few years, I realised that I had a talent, and other people around started to notice as well. That's when I moved on to a club called Brentford FC, which people know as the club that's in the Premier League now. So yeah, that was my first ever professional experience. And yeah, I started there, had a good few years at Brentford before I got released, and I ended up coming back to AFC Wembley. So I came back to AFC Wembley when I was 13 years old, and played there for 1 year. It was good to come back to like my roots, where I know I would enjoy my football at such a young age. And then yeah, after a year of being back at AC Wembley, I then got noticed again, and I ended up signing for QPR, known as Queens Park Rangers, the club in the Championship. And I spent the rest of my younger days as a footballer there, from 14 up until I was 19 years old. And then yeah, after that, I got released at QPR, and found my way into the non-league setup in England. Yeah, a lot of people know about the non-league setup, but they know more about like the National League. I signed for a club called Bracknell Town, which was a few leagues below the National League. But yeah, I was 19 years old, so to be able to play men's senior football at such an age.
So let me ask you a question. At non-league football, could you make it, were you professional or semi-professional? Could you actually make a living out of football playing non-league football in England?
So I was semi-professional at that point. You couldn't make a living at that time playing semi-professional football, but certainly now, in this day, you could do. Football has grown a lot in England, and there's much more investors, much more fans, and now the type of money that is in the leagues in England at a semi-professional level allows some people to make a living off it. Not everyone.
Wow.
But yeah, there are some people that can do.
That's interesting. Now, how did you end up in Australia? Because you haven't come to Dinamo directly. You had a little bit of a stint at Hume City. So how'd you end up down under?
Yeah, so it's a weird one because I was at Bracknell Town first, and then I had a good season at Bracknell Town, and I was able to get myself a move into the National League to a team called Slough Town. So that was a proud moment for me, moving back up into the National League. But a few months of being at Slough, I had the opportunity to move to Australia and move to Hume City. I believe the year before I actually moved out to Australia, I reached out to a few clubs in Melbourne just to see, because I wanted to experience a new beginning.
Yep.
But nothing materialized. And then the following year, I got in touch with someone from Hume again, and yeah, this time it happened. So the opportunity came about, and I said, you know what, why not? So yeah, that's how the move initially happened.
There you go. What an interesting story. And you're only 25, but you've experienced so much life, I guess. Obviously in the football, but also having come to the other side of the world, and you still got quite a few more years left in you. Crossing over to Dinamo this year, obviously striker. You've scored a couple of goals already. We're hoping to see a lot more as well. But season's quite young. What's kind of been what was your at the start of this season? What was your goal, or what were some of your goals that you wanted to achieve this year?
Yeah, so coming across the Dinamo, obviously knowing Cam and Billy, I know the type of philosophy they play, the way they like to play their football. And yeah, that's something that suits me. Of course, being a striker, I'm someone who's a bit more physical. I can hold the ball up, I can get in behind with runs, but I like to say I'm also technical too, and the type of football that they play, I like to play that style of football, getting the ball on the floor. So yeah, just coming to play under Cam and Billy, I knew what kind of style we would be playing, and I'm attracted to that style of football. Of course, having conversations with Cam, I knew what he was trying to build this season, and obviously from last year, we wanted to build on that and try and push up the table as much as possible. So yeah, from conversations, I was confident that we could do that, and I wanted to be the person to help the club get up the table.
Yeah, awesome. How would you compare, say, training under Cam here at Dinamo compared to maybe some of the non-league clubs that you've played at over in England back home?
Yeah, I'd like to actually say there's a better structure here, actually.
Okay.
In terms of, so if you're a non-league club, you'd only train twice a week and then have a game. Here, I think we have an extra day of training, depending on what day you play. But yeah, the structure in terms of what we're doing in sessions, the gym side of things, I think it's actually better. But the football is a little bit different. You have teams that want to play a lot of football on the ground, but it's also very physical back in the non-league setup. So there's a lot of ball in the air, a lot of long balls. So yeah, slightly different, but there's quality in both leagues, definitely.
Yeah, no, it's really, really interesting, and it's interesting getting that comparison and seeing the two. All right, let's talk about the future, I suppose, and that's this Monday, because and we have to reiterate, game was originally set down for Friday night, but it has been switched to Monday night, and it will be played at the home of the Matildas. Melbourne Victory, obviously, we all know they've got an A-League side, but this is their academy side. And the game kicks off at 8 p.m. What are you expecting from Victory?
Yeah, we played Victory in pre-season actually, so I know both clubs will know a little bit about each other. But we know that Victory are a young side. They're energetic. They have a style of play, and they train on a consistent basis. So they'll be fit. They'll be sharp. They'll be up for the game. I know that at their ground they like to play there as well. So it'll be an interesting game. I've heard the home of the Matildas pitch is really nice, so for both teams, it'll be a great game of football.
Yeah, we're certainly hoping for a good crowd there, a good travelling contingent of Dinamo fans. And either way, after last weekend, I'm sure everyone is keen to get back on the winners list. And let's starting with Monday night against Victory. Mikhail, thank you so much for joining us on Dinamo TV. We love having you. Welcome to the club. And we look forward to you doing your stuff in the forward line for the rest of the season.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. I appreciate
it. Good on you. Bye-bye. That was Mikhail Platt, senior men's team striker. All right, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we will continue with tonight's episode of Dinamo TV. Folks, don't go away. And welcome back to Dinamo TV, and it's time for our next guest. And before we do that, here's a little bit of footage on the weekend of this was the under-14 Dinamo girls team, and they were crowned champions in the Melton Phoenix Kim Donnelly Memorial Shield, as were our under-13 girls and our under-9 girls. Our under-11 girls walked away as runners-up. So congratulations to all of those teams for doing so well. Here's some footage of the under-14s team playing in the final against Brimbank Stallions. After that, we're catching up with the coach of the St Albans Dinamo Girls Under-14s team, Tex Apostolikas. Don't go away, folks. Enjoy.
Handball! Handball! Literally on film. Again! Come on! Let's go. Owen the Saints! Go marching in! Owen the Saints! Go marching in! I love to be St. Albans! Owen the Saints! Go marching in! Go marching in! Dinamo!
And welcome, very warm welcome to Tex Apostolikas. I think I've said that right, have I?
You have. Thank you very much, Tonich. Thanks for having me on the program.
And you obviously are the coach, the coach of the victorious Under-14 Dinamo Girls team. First of all, to you and your team, congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And the girls worked very hard for that little piece of the pie.
Yeah. Now tell us about the tournament. So it was the Melton Phoenix Kim Donnelly Memorial Shield. Tell us more a bit about that.
Yeah, so that ran over 2 weekends. So we had our group stage game last weekend, or there was a couple of games. We also had a wrap up on the weekend that just passed. And then the first and second place teams went through to the final. So, yeah.
Awesome. And as we mentioned, the under-9s and the under-13s were also crowned champions, so the club did very well there. And our under-11 team walked away as runners-up as well. So a massive congratulations to all the coaches, the players, and everyone involved, especially the parents for bringing the girls there. But how did you find the standard of the competition in the under-14s?
Yeah, look, there was the first game, which was a bit of a mixed bag. The home team made up some numbers from the 12s and 13s, so that was probably more of an easier game. But then the other 2 games were quite competitive. And in fairness, it was a really good organised tournament. It was nicely done, nicely structured, and just having all the girls there was a nice vibe. The parents enjoyed it, obviously, and the parents and the kids had a ball.
I know the coaches don't like to single out any players in particular, but go through the squad. Who was some of the girls that really stood out, and not just for their performance, but maybe their team spirit, as well as just their non-stop endeavour in the background as well.
No, look, you're definitely right, and I'm not going to single out any girl in particular. But in fairness, it was a team collective. They all did their part. I mean, the first game, keeper really didn't have to do too much. So from her part, she was exceptional.
Yeah, what's the keeper's name? Let's give her a shout out.
So Savannah, she was grouse. And then the girls in the back, you got Nicolina, Neves. There's a combination of Mimi and Valentina that play in the back. You've got the midfield. That's Christina, Mia M, as I call her. Eva, Victoria on the right. Up front, Mia D, Mia G, Georgia. And and I don't think I've missed any, but that's pretty much the team.
Oh,
but
you've done well. How many Mias in the team?
There's 3. So that's the entertaining part, I suppose, for the parents and myself, trying to get the surname out at the same time to make sure the right man knows which one's getting the instructions at the time.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. No, that's great. I'm sure they're going to get a thrill having their name mentioned on DinamoTV.
I did forget to mention Sophia, so I won't forget her. She was also up front. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. Excellent. Now, off air, you were telling me a funny little story, Tex, how you got roped into coaching, and you've been pretty. You haven't looked back. Tell us how you got how you assumed the role of coach at St Albans Dinamo Girls.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough. Mickey Pete and I had a pretty good relationship prior to my coaching days, and my daughter was playing at another club where there was a boy and a girl competition, let's call it. There wasn't many girls playing at that stage.
Yep.
We were getting to the second year and we're like, we wanted to start exploring and finding a team that had girls.
Yeah.
Mickey Pete obviously reached out and said, look, we've got a girls team, bring her down. She'll have fun. So sure enough, hooked me in, came on down, see Mickey Pete holding the bag of balls and just sitting there on the sideline. Goes, look, while you're here, you don't mind taking the first session, maybe the second session. And then sure enough, after the second section, he had me hooked, and that was it.
Oh, he's a daunting figure. He's a very intimidating figure, Mickey Pete. But deep down, he's just a big, gentle giant, I think. That's a fantastic story, and it's amazing how because of your kids. In your case, it's your daughter, that you end up getting involved in coaching or involved in a club that you probably didn't even think that you ever would. But it's awesome. That's a great story to tell. How are the girls looking for the season ahead? All ready for the new season?
They are. We are starting to find a bit of form now, which is good. Obviously, we've still got a couple more tournaments coming up before the season does kick off, but we just want to follow on from last year's momentum. And it's been 4 or 5 years. In saying that, we started with the one girls team and then managed to build it up over the years. There's been a bit of chopping and changing, but form-wise, I think we've still got room for improvement, no doubt, but we're heading in the right direction.
And you coached this team last year, did you, Tex?
Yes, I've been fortunate enough to have majority of the girls that we're playing with me at the moment for 4 years, going on to 5 years now. So,
and how did you guys go last year?
Last year we did quite well. We were pretty good. We were unlucky. We went undefeated all season and just missed out purely by goal difference in the end.
Oh gosh, jeez,
Yeah,
that's a bit unfair, isn't it? But that's what sometimes happens, yeah. And this year, do you know kind of what division you'll be playing? Will you be playing under 14?
I don't think we've yet finalised where we're sitting. I mean, I'm sure the club's probably got a bit of more direction in that department, but whatever challenges, whatever division we're in, I'm sure we're going to definitely give it a good crack.
And the season starts the week after Easter? Is that right? End of April.
That's correct. Yeah, I believe so.
So there's only 3 or 4 more weeks to go before the season kicks off. So how are play numbers going? You got plenty in the squad, have you?
Yeah, yes and no. We're sitting at 13, which in fairness is really good for the girls in terms of getting game time. There's plenty of opportunities there. And no doubt we'll reach out and look at some support from some of the younger teams to obviously reward some of the players coming up from the younger ages and then just manage it as we need to.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I guess another 1 or 2 players wouldn't be bad. So if anyone's watching and they've got some friends that are in that under 14 category, reach out to the club or reach out to Tex directly or to any of the girls in the 14s as well. It'd be great to get at least 1 or 2 players there. Injuries do happen and unavailabilities always happen. So it's always good to have a couple of extra players there, that's for sure. Tex, what's your vision for this team? Would you like to be coaching this team for a few more years? Would you like to see them kind of eventually move up into the seniors or the reserves if we end up having the reserves by the time they're ready for it?
Yeah, no doubt. Year by year is how I like to take things. At the moment, I'm still enjoying it, still got the passion, and even just seeing the kids gelling and enjoying it and still wanting to come back for more. That's always an exciting point of view from my end. So at the end of the day, I'd love to continue and I'd love for the group to stay together at the end of the day and just seeing the relationships and even just seeing them as developers, young ladies and players on the field, it is really rewarding.
Yeah. Now, just reiterating that, a fantastic result on the weekend. The St Albans Dynamo girls under 14 team was crowned champions in the Melton Phoenix Kim Donnelly Memorial Shield, as were our under 9s and under 13s, and our under 11s walked away as runners-up. So it's fantastic result there. Tex, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best for the season ahead. We're looking forward to it, really, really looking forward to it. And hopefully maybe we can even catch up with you before sometime throughout the season.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Good on you. Tex Apostolakis, the coach of the St Albans Dynamo girls under 14s team. Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break, and when we return, we'll be continuing with tonight's episode of DinamoTV. Don't go away. Welcome back to DinamoTV. And just last week, unfortunately, the Dinamo family mourned the passing of Ivan Pinteric, who was a legendary character around the club. He'd really been, heavily involved over the years at Dinamo. He's a former committee member, long-time on-again, off-again secretary, club member, and certainly a long-time supporter. A true clubman who loved supporting every one of our club's teams, from the juniors through to our senior men's team. And he affectionately referred to the senior men's as his Disco Ducks on match days. The legendary Ivan Pinteric. He will be remembered for championing the promotion of our juniors into the senior team and his love for his beloved Dinamo. The club extends its condolences to Ivan's wife, his children, grandchildren, and indeed the extended family and friends. Pochivo Miru Božjem. There on the screen, we've got all the details. The funeral service will be held tomorrow, Thursday, at the Sveti Leopold Mandić Croatian Church in Sunshine West. The service will begin with a viewing at 1 p.m, followed by the Krunica, the Rosary, and the Mass at 1:30 p.m. At the conclusion of the Mass, the funeral will proceed for a burial at Keilor Cemetery at 3 p.m, and that's on the corner of Cemetery Road and Eli Court. Someone who really knew Pokojni Ivan very, very well is our next guest, and it's a pleasure to welcome to DinamoTV, not under these circumstances, but nonetheless, it's great to have Mario Jutriša, who knew Pokojni Ivan really, really well. Mario, good evening and welcome to DinamoTV. How are you?
Good evening, I'm very good. Condolences to the family when we start. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Mate, you're an icon of the club, a legend. You've been involved in so many, with so many generations of the Jutrišas have been involved at the club. But you specifically, you knew Ivan really, really well, because you and Pokojni Ivan used to kind of jumble the roles of secretary many a time.
Yes, we did quite a few times. The reason was that you get tired doing it for about 2 or 3 years, so you want to have a year off. Not really off, just a bit of a break as assistant secretary, and then that's the way we prolonged the life of the committee members.
Yeah, prolong the life of the committee members, and dare I say, the club itself. In a year when we're going to be celebrating our 50th anniversary, it's such illustrious characters as Ivan and so many others that have made this club great. What are your recollections of Ivan in the early days? How did you first meet him?
Well, I met him away from the soccer club. He worked with my mum at the sugar factory CSA in Yarraville.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew him away from the soccer as well as at Dinamo. So, that's, as I said, I've known him ever since he came to Australia.
Yeah. And how did he get involved in the soccer club at Dinamo?
Like everybody else, he wanted to play. There was a whole heap of us that wanted to play. Unfortunately, not all of us managed to get on a team. Some of us, managed, and so he was very keen on playing.
Yeah.
And that's where we all stuck together and kept going.
Yeah, so he was secretary for many, many years. Well, did he assume any other office bearer roles within the committee, or Radni Odbor or anything like that?
Yes, he was. He done a lot of painting and when working bees and all those. He done all different, as I said, jobs. If there was a place we needed, he was a very good. He was very tenacious, and he was very particular. He would make sure that you done your job. When he was your assistant, you knew that you had to do everything, and when he was in charge, there was nothing missing. Yeah, so he was very, very keen, and this is why everybody knows him, because he worked very hard. Yeah,
fantastic. It's certainly going to be a sad loss for the club. Now, the Disco Ducks. How did that come about? Like, have you got any idea how he came up with that nickname, the Disco Ducks, for the senior men's team?
Yes, wasn't issues. I mean, those days we had things. Our boys were party goers, and we had a couple of coaches that wanted to install, like my cum Chulina wanted to install, curfews and all that. So, and the players were always found to be somewhere else apart from home. So, at the meeting once, I think Pokoni Ivan was a little bit upset, and he said, "Oh, we bloody disco ducks," and that's how it stayed.
The supporters were different back then, weren't they? Disco ducks, and I guess that's how it stuck. And it became quite legendary. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Was he sick towards the end, or was it just old age, or?
No, I think he was sick for a few years, but none of us actually know how bad, because we're all aging, so we got all our problems. So we see each other at Dinamo. Nobody complains at Dinamo. We're all happy. We just talk, and we don't really know exactly. But yeah, we knew he was unwell because I see him around St Albans and that, and Taylor's Lake. So we knew he was a little bit ill, but we didn't know how bad and
to what extent.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Ivan. I forgot. Ivan was a coach as well from juniors and a few other players. I think he was a team manager at Rezzies, and well, he was also famous for bringing out Red, White, and Blue. We love you. He was always singing that.
Yeah.
So he did leave a lot of fond memories. Sometimes we laughed, sometimes we were angry, but it was all part of the us being us.
Yeah, and the club put out a tribute just yesterday saying he will be remembered for championing the promotion of our juniors into the senior team and his love for his beloved Dinamo. And for that very, very, I guess, feature factor, he'll always be very, very fondly remembered. Mario, how are you? How's things with you? How's your health? All good, hopefully?
Here so far. Yeah, well, knees are going slowly and things like that. But yeah, I think I can still manage my two jobs that I do at Dinamo, which is the Sveti Nikola and working at the bar for the Gold Pass members up the top. But yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully Sveti Nikola doesn't work in the bar at the same time. Hopefully you're able to differentiate the two roles. But Mario, look, it's, as I mentioned, it's the 50th anniversary this year. You've been heavily involved in the club through yourself and your son, Danny, as well, who's very well known at the club and a past president. And he's got his kids as well. So it's look, lots of generations involved. You've seen the club evolve over the several decades. What kind of leaves you with the most looking back over that time? What's your most kind of fondest memories about the club and where it's come to in these 50 years?
Well, look, there was a bunch of blokes that played at Tobacco St Albans High School, and we're all very good friends. And the more people came, the more friends we became, and we just organised this thing without realising that we were actually a little bit better than most people that were playing in the industrial leagues and that. We managed to get a sponsor, but we were all always together. We more or less married in the group, all the girls and boys,
We've just had it just unfortunately looks like it's disconnected. Oh, he's back. He's there. I'm not sure what happened there, but we keep on talking. So you were saying that the whole group stayed together, pretty much married within the group, I guess, is for want of a better word. And that's how the club's really developed from what was a social club, I guess, has become a real community and a pillar of the Croatian community in Melbourne.
Yeah, well, look, my friends, all our kids, most of our kids are friends, and now even our grandkids are friends.
Yeah, so how good is that?
It's it's really I don't know, like a happy cellar. Yeah, we're all just one lot, and we enjoyed. Yes, there's always something happening, so we're. Unfortunately, we are getting to the age where some of us are leaving, But
Yeah.
yeah, look, I would never change the club. I wouldn't sell the club. I wouldn't merge the club. We love the club, and there's quite a few of us. We're all the same.
Yeah. And are you pretty wrapped with the direction that the club is heading in at the moment? Last year, the Australian Croatian soccer tournament, a lot of people are saying it was one of the best in recent years. The atmosphere, the camaraderie, the community spirit was second to none. And look, this year we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, so it's going to be even more celebrating. Those disco ducks keep on dancing away, don't they? Down at Dinamo.
Yes. Look, when it comes to working for the club, we always manage to find good people, and there's always good people around the club. So this is the reason why we managed to keep going, even though we're not the richest club around, but we managed to keep going because we are just all friends and we all help each other.
Yeah. And mate, finally, what would be your message, I guess, to the next generation as someone who's been heavily involved with Dinamo over the last few decades?
Well, never give up, never leave the club, love the club. I mean, if you have to go somewhere, you have to go, but just remember that we're always a family club. We'll always accept everybody back.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, love it. On that note, Mario, thank you so much for joining us and paying a little bit of a tribute to the great man that was Ivan Pinteric, whose funeral will be on tomorrow night. We'll just pop those details there on the screen. Once again, the funeral service on tomorrow night at the St. Leopold Mandic Croatian Church in Sunshine. The Krunica or the Rosary the viewing begins at 1:00, followed by the Krunica at 1:30. And then the Mass, and then the burial afterwards at 3 p.m. Mario, once again, thank you so much for joining us on Dinamo TV tonight.
No, thank you, and Bog.
Good on you. Mario Jutriša, former club secretary. What hasn't he been at the club? Heavily involved, and as he said, he still has the important role of playing Sveti Nikola in December, and then also manning the bar in the members VIP area upstairs on game day. And another one of the many living legends at the club. Folks, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, it will be time pretty much to wrap up tonight's episode of Dinamo TV. Folks, don't go away. It's Dinamo TV that you are watching. And that is a wrap for another episode of Dinamo TV. Next week, we'll have our 50th episode. Yes, we're going to be celebrating half a century of Dinamo TV episodes. And catch us next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Until then, my name is Tonchi Prusats, and it's been an absolute pleasure being your host for tonight. Good night.